Howdy, Mike McCoy here. How's it going? Finally warmed back up. It's probably up in the 40s today. I mean, I can actually go outside with this my long sleeve shirt on. Got the solid day, first time a mill's running this year, I guess. But got to make a little sawdust. That helped everybody out. And old Chipper, the motor messed up on it, or the motor didn't, the fan did. I've had more trouble with that fan. I've about figured out how I'm going to fix it, so I'll fix it tomorrow. Mother and Laddie, they got a plane some morning. While they're planning on that, I'll work on that chipper. I've fit with that thing for the last 20 years. I'm going to finally fix it. But subject to my video today is 39 years ago. It's 6:49. I got introduced to my best friend, Chad McCoy. He come into this world. Chad was born at 6:49 of the evening, and Shannon, my daughter, she was born at 6:49 of the morning. But he was born pretty much a non-event as far as him coming into this world. I took Mary Ruth up there about 4:30 that evening, and he was born at 6:49. About 7:30 or 8 o'clock, she said, well, you might as well go on to the house. And I just come home. Well, I noticed when I left, they seemed to be a little bit more blood there, and I thought they ought to be, but you know, they acted like they know what they was doing, so I come on home. About 10 o'clock at night, my phone rang. I went there and answered it. It was a nurse from up there at the hospital, and they said, your wife's having a hard time. She'd like for you to come back up here. So I jumped in the car and come back up there, and evidently Mary Ruth had been hemorrhaging ever since I left. She was absolutely at death's door. To this day, I've never seen nobody that sick survive. I've seen people, you know, that was dying that died, but to come back, I'd never seen her like that. There was blood pouring out of her by the gobs, and I fainted 3 drops of blood. And they was working with her as hard as they could, trying to keep her alive. And during that night, from 8 o'clock that night till 8:30 the next morning, they put her to sleep 3 times and give her 5 units of blood. And about 8:30 that morning, her gynecologist come in. And he told me, he said, well, we may have to do a hysterectomy. I said, well, do what you got to do. Don't let her die. And by 9:30, he had her fixed. That rascal was so no count, so worthless, so utterly worthless. He let my wife lay there all night long and hemorrhage so he could get a good night's sleep. I've never been as upset about nothing in my life as bad as I am that right there. That man was beyond worthless. And Alzheimer's killed him a few years after that, and I would not be one bit surprised if he hadn't had it then when it happened. And got Mary Ruth home. I don't remember, it's several days later. And it took her at least 2 years to get over that. Like I say, I've never seen anything like that before in my life. And I can promise you, the woman I brought home wasn't the woman I took up there. That messed with her mind. I mean, it didn't make her crazy. Mary Ruth's mother, she's a very intelligent woman to this day, but it changed her personality. It changed it so slight that I'm probably the only one who can know it, but I know for a fact it changed her personality. She just wasn't hardly as sharp when she come back home as she was before. And it is so that rascal could get a night's sleep. And to cause that much pain and sickness on somebody just because he's too lazy to get his hind end out of bed and come up there and do something. And there's a group of them. I mean, if he wasn't able to come, why didn't some of them others come? You know. And, I mean, we didn't law nobody, didn't threaten in law nobody or nothing. Just being decent. But anyway, enough of my rant on that. It's been nearly 40 years ago. I ought to be over it by now, but I'm not. But anyway, I got to meet Chad. And me and him, from that moment on till now, we've hit it off. He's the best friend I've got in the world. And one of the best people I've ever known. You know, I figure as a parent, if you can have a child that's a better person than you are, you've done what you was put on this earth for. And I've done that twice, for I've got a boy and a girl, both of them better than me. Chad's just, he's just Chad. He's just a good boy. Never give me a whole lot of trouble. I mean, all youngins give you a little trouble. They wouldn't be youngins if it didn't. But very, very little trouble out of that boy. And to this day, he's just a good guy. I like being with him, and he likes being with me. We fish together. We're fishing buddies. Neither one of us really cared about anything about hunting. I took him a time or two, and you could tell he didn't really care nothing about it. He liked being with his daddy, and that's about it. And back when I logged, he was probably 6, maybe 7. I know he wasn't over 7. And I'd take him with me on Saturday, and we'd build skid ropes. He was sitting there with me on the dozer one day, and he said, "Daddy, I'm only young and you got." I said, well, I've got Shannon. I said, you know, we got to include her. He said, no. I said, she don't never get out and do nothing with you. And said, I'm all the time out of doing something with you. He said, I'm only young and you got it. I laughed and I said, well, I guess she belongs to the milkman. I ain't thinking no more about it. From that moment, for the next 6 months, every person that come by the house, the first thing out of Chad's mouth was, Shannon belongs to the milkman. My stepdad got so mad, he could have killed me over that. And I didn't mean nothing by it. And I don't reckon it marked Shannon for life either. But I thought that's kind of funny. And when I got diagnosed with cancer, Chad was getting ready to sell everything he could so we could come up with a deductible on the insurance, you know. He never did say nothing to me about it, but his wife told me, said he's going crazy, going to sell his cars and everything. That's just the kind of kid he is, you know. He's a good boy. And he's super competitive. I mean, he wants to win. And he loves fast boats. And we've all got things we like. Well, bass boats is his Achilles heel, I guess you'd say. He loves bass boats. And at last Norris Craft we had, that thing actually had a racing motor on it. But he wouldn't race nobody because he's afraid they might outrun him. So that puts him in a quandary. And he was about 13, and we was down at Cherokee Lake. And this big old boy, well, he wasn't big, he was a good sized boy. And he had a red Dodge diesel, a fancy Norris Craft boat. And me and Chad had that old, I think it's a Ranger. It's like a 74 model. But Chad was sitting in the boat waiting on me, and I went up there to park the truck, and they put that Norris Craft in while I was gone. And later, a few years ago, Chad said I made myself a promise right then that I'd have me one of them boats. And so far he's had 2 of them. And his luck would have it, that very boat is for sale right now. And he won't buy it. I don't know why. I told him, I said, we'll go get that thing if you want it. He said, no. I said, I don't need that. And he's chased that boat since he was 14 years old. You know, sometimes the chase is better than the actual getting. But, and if he wanted the boat, I'd help him get it. I'd get it for him as far as that goes. But he said no. He's the side of a young. But now when he come in this world, it sure made his mama sick. And I don't know if because she was so sick or what, but him and her's got a bond that you just don't see every day. I'll guarantee you if a house is on fire and she couldn't save one of us, Chad'd be the one to get saved. And that's the way I'd want it to be. But she thinks a lot of her boy. I think a lot of him too. Now him and his mama's got a bond. He'll never be too far from his mama. Every evening when he gets in from work, if he's not having to stay overnight, he comes by and sees his mama and he'll give him a root beer. She keeps candy and root beer just for him. And, yeah, she thinks a lot of her boy and he thinks a lot of her. But they get along good. I just thought I'd pass that little story on. If you've got a son and he's your best friend, I figure you're very fortunate. Because that's just made my life for me. And I think a lot of my daughter too. Shannon, she's a great girl. She really is. But she was one of these type of people that wanted to be away from home as soon as she got old enough to leave, and she did. She went to Florida, and she stayed in Florida last year, I guess it was, and now her old man's up in Kentucky, where his people's from, because his mama got sick, and he got sick. He had to have a liver transplant, but his mama got pancreatic cancer just last summer and died. So. Shannon's all right. She's a good young'un. But me and Chad, there's just something there that worth a whole lot as far as I'm concerned. I can sit down and talk to him just like I can anybody. It ain't no longer father and son. I mean, I look at him as completely equal. Well, I'm still his dad, but, you know, I don't look at him as my little boy all the time. But he'll always be my son. But that's enough rambling from this old man here. Hope you're all doing good. Hope it's warm where you're at, for it's warmed up here. I've seen enough cold weather do me for a while. I don't know how much y'all feel about that, but I just seen it warm back up. And talk at you later.